What's up, YouTube? So, an article was sent to me, and it's called CNN Asks Why Black Men Are Not Graduating from College. I'll post the link up. It's not a long article, but it's by Dr. Boyce Watkins, and you've probably heard of him before. You can go ahead and YouTube him, and he is one of those people who also is very vocal about different issues affecting black men. I respect what he has to say. I don't agree with everything, but I do respect what he has to say. So in his article, he brings up some points in regards to what can be done in regards to ensuring that black males do graduate from college. So we're not even talking about trying to get black men to college. We're talking about the segment of black men who do go to college but aren't making it. Okay, so they made it to college for whatever reason, but once they're there, they're not completing their degree. Now, he first talks about how universities need to hire more black professors. I agree, but then I disagree. I've had, I would say, 2 very influential black professors that definitely helped me, but there's others that didn't really, care. You have to understand that you could be a black professor, but if you are, teaching some sort of science, you may be consumed with that. We have this idea that every black professor is going to be one of those black history professors, and he's going to be all about, the black struggle. He may be in a different field. So he may be teaching, some computer engineering course, and he'll never see any black people, right? Because we know we're not in the math and sciences. So having a black professor sounds good, but what is he teaching? Right? What's his impact, especially on the university level, where a lot of the times it's mandated that the professors have to do research. So most of the time you have the TAs teaching the class. I had one course where the professor was black, but literally he came, said what he had to do, and bounced. And it was the TAs that ended up teaching the class because he was more concerned with his research. So I understand the whole idea of hiring more black professors. You have more people to talk to. You have the resource. He'll pass on that knowledge. But it assumes that, a black professor will want to go out of his way. Like I said, I've had black professors on my campus, and we've tried to reach out, and they didn't really care. They were just there doing their job. Okay, because you're a black professor doesn't mean that you're into, the black community and on a social and political level. If you're there teaching English, you're concerned with teaching English or whatever you're doing. Right? But I understand where he's coming from. But, simply saying we're going to hire more black professors, I don't know. Okay? And you also ask the question, how many black professors are actually applying? What pisses me off is sometimes we'll look at the demographics of a certain area and we won't see black people. And what do? We assume that we're not being hired. Right? The same thing with education. You look at the numbers and you'll never see any, like for instance, my district, obviously low amounts of black male teachers and administrators. Same thing with Hispanics and whatnot. So the question is, or it's always come up that, they're just not hiring blacks. But in reality, a lot of black people are not applying. You have to understand, they're just not applying. I'm curious to figure out how many black professors who are teaching some area of mathematics are applying for jobs and not getting hired, right? If a lot of the black professors are teaching, let's say, black history or some sort of related course, well, a lot of those programs are being cut. With budget cutbacks, a lot of schools are taking their African studies and, Chicano studies, they're taking them and they're combining them into one ethnic studies sort of program. That's what happened at my school. In the past we had an African American studies department, but that got merged with ethnic studies and we lost a whole bunch of positions. So if you have too many professors who are focusing in that area, well, yeah, they're going to have a hard time finding work because those programs are being eliminated across the board. So, yeah, we need black professors, but also you have to look at, well, what are they trying to teach? Okay, we need diversity. We need black professors that are teaching mathematics. We need black professors that are teaching English and, just across the board. Not the whole stereotypical black professor who teaches African studies, and he comes to work in a dashiki every day. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool. Don't get me wrong. We need those, but we need others in other areas of academia. The next point he brought up was black males must raise their expectations. Being a baller or a rapper is all fine and good, but it takes far less intelligence to be a doctor or lawyer. Now, here's my problem. We're talking about the black men who are already on a college campus, okay? So they're pretty much not trying to be a baller or a rapper, right? They've already made it to college. Don't make a general recommendation, which is okay, but you're talking about a specific group of black men. Okay, the issue isn't black men aren't graduating. The ones that do make it to college aren't graduating because they want to be a rapper or a baller. No, that's not what's going on. I understand in terms of black men, you know, who are younger, who don't see academics as a viable option, but we're not talking about that group. So that recommendation is kind of pointless, right? And the whole idea of black males must raise their expectations, like, what does that mean? Expectations, for the most part, are set for you. Okay? You're not necessarily born with expectations. People give them to you. Your parents primarily, your parents and family expect something out of you, and you achieve. So the Asian dude or the Indian dude or the white dude isn't doing well because they just woke up and they said, we're going to set higher expectations for ourselves because that's who we are. It was done for them by their parents, not the community, their own parents. This goes back to the whole idea of the broken family. Okay, this goes back to the whole idea of, you know, everybody feeling sorry for the child, but when that child becomes a man or a woman, all of a sudden the light switch is supposed to come on. Right? You can't take a young black boy or girl grew up with no parents, no expectations, okay, just don't go to jail or just don't get pregnant, and the second they become adult, turn around and say, oh, you have to, you know, higher your expectations, you know, you have to want more out of yourself. It doesn't work that way. Like I said before, the problem with the black community is we don't see how a lot of problems are connected. We want to look at problems on an isolated level. What do you think is going to happen? Okay, especially when you have young black boys that are not growing up with a father. It's going back to the whole idea of women making poor choices. Okay? It's all related. So if he's not growing up with a father, if mom chose to, you know, have kids by a deadbeat with a dude who's not productive, where do you think that boy's going to get his expectations from? Right? Where do you think it's going to come from? Who's going to get in him? Who's going to tell him what he needs to do, how to be a man, how to succeed? It's not going to happen, right? But, you know, like I said, we don't look at the problems on a holistic level, right? You're just not going to tell somebody, you got to raise your expectations. It doesn't work that way, right? It sounds good, you know, that whole rhetoric that people stand up and clap, but it doesn't mean anything, especially when you look at the context of the article, and we're not even talking about the entire black male population. We're talking about a focus group. Third, he brought up universities should realize that black men can do more than play basketball. So pretty much, he's saying that universities need to recognize the gold mine that they have, and which I say is true. You have to understand that a school's reputation is built on the people who graduate and the people who go on and become successful. So if you're a university, yeah, you have every incentive to make sure that you have black men that come to your campus, and not only come to your campus, graduate and go on and do bigger and better things, because that promotes your university. That helps you out, right? Which I don't understand why a lot of universities don't do more of, okay? You know, you get some black guys in there, some black women in there, they study hard, do well, get good jobs. What's going to happen? They're going to be driving around in their Mercedes, and it's going to have alumni from this university. They're going to have their plaques, this, that, and the third. They're going to come back and speak. So it helps the university overall, right? But for the most part, a lot of universities only see the value, especially with black men, on a sports level. Okay, you know, we know how black men make different universities look good in terms of basketball and football and track, but they haven't understood how it helps out academically, Okay, you know, you get these men to stand out academically and professionally, and it's going to come back to you as well. Maybe not as quick as him being a star running back, but if he goes on 10 years down the line, becomes a lawyer, doctor, 20, 30 years down the line, making great money, who do you think he's going to be donating money to? Okay, you know, all of a sudden you have the Malik Johnson Scholarship, or whatever you want to call it. Who's going to be speaking? Oh, we need a keynote speaker. It makes you look good. So I do agree with him on that point. But as far as his first 2 points about hiring more black professors, that's a yes or no. And his second point was completely just off. And the third point, I do agree. You know, they do have to see the value of black men outside of just being a stellar athlete. So anyways, that's my video. Hopefully you guys check out the article. Let me know what you think. God bless.